While millions of Americans were glued to the horror playing out on their television screens, they watched and waited as two planes crashed into the World Trade Center and the Twin Towers came tumbling to the ground.
And I start running as quickly as I can, and now the South Tower, which was the second building struck but the first one to collapse, it's falling in what we call a pancake type of collapse. One floor is hitting the floor below 110 times.
Oh, wow.
You have 110 stories, right?
Yeah,
So boom,
yeah.
boom, 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 boom. And as each floor is hitting the floor below, it's kind of puffing air out like a fireplace bellows. You know what I mean? And as I'm running, I could feel the air pressure on my back, and the air pressure just kind of caught my helmet, and I just saw my helmet fly away. My helmet was flying, and it was going up in the air. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and it was going up. It was like the Wizard of Oz, and like I'm running, I'm watching my helmet. You know, I'm like, feet don't fail me now,
Right,
you know?
right.
And at some point, the air pressure was so strong, it was almost like a tornado force. They estimated like 200 miles an hour. I don't know how they estimated that.
New York firefighter Lieutenant Joe Torrillo was at Ground Zero, not by circumstance, by choice. Well, I'm honored to be here. Veterans Day week with Lieutenant Joe Torrillo, retired from the New York Fire Department. Now, Joe, before I give away your whole story here, I have to tell you, Steven Spielberg couldn't have come up with a plot line for what you have survived, for what you have endured, and everybody at home is going to have goosebumps like I do when they hear you tell, what happened on September 11th. September 11th began like any ordinary day for the lieutenant, who was on his way to a press conference to launch Fisher-Price's new action figure, a rescue hero and firefighter by the name of Billy Blazes. The date of the press conference was no coincidence.
So I'm kind of brainstorming. I can't think of another date that's really appropriate. So I said, 911 is the emergency phone number in New York City. Why don't we have like a 911 day in New York? So the Fisher-Price execs are like, wow, that's a great novel idea. We'll have a 911 day in New York City. We'll introduce the new rescue hero at the new Children's Learning Center.
Wow.
So on 911, September 11, 2001, at 9 o'clock in the morning, all the TV stations in New York City were waiting for me to introduce this new rescue hero, a New York City firefighter. Well, I was leaving my office in fire department headquarters when somebody said, hey, a plane just hit the World Trade Center. And I'm like, oh, God, I can't believe this. And I was rushing because I just didn't want to get stuck in traffic. I wasn't even worried about the World Trade Center. I didn't really think it was a big deal. I was just worried my boss was going to kill me if I didn't get to that press conference because I'm stuck in traffic.
Right.
So as I'm going over a bridge from Brooklyn into Manhattan, the World Trade Center towers was about 1/8 of a mile away. And as I'm going over the bridge, I'm kind of looking up, and I got the 3 college kids with me, and like I could see about 9 floors of fire all around the top of the building. And one of the college kids asked me what did I think was going on. And my first words, I said, everybody on the top of the building is going to die. And I said, that building's going to collapse. By the time I got over the bridge, which was about a minute and a half, I made a decision that I got to get to the World Trade Center because my original firehouse was right across the street, and I knew that they were going to be the first ones inside that building. Joe went to the firehouse and borrowed some gear from an off-duty firefighter and headed for the towers. I put on all the firefighting clothing, and I ran out of the firehouse towards the North Tower, but as I was running past the South Tower, which was the first building that I encountered, I heard a roar, and I looked up, and United Airlines Flight 175 came right over my head.
So you saw it?
I saw it, I heard it, I saw it for a split second, like maybe a second and a half, and I see it hit the building. I'm the only one underneath that plane, and I see the plane hit the building, and it kind of looked like the building just like sucked the plane into it. It was like kind of a weird sight. I'm like, oh man, where did that plane go? It's like the plane hit the building, then the plane is like gone. You would think that the plane would fall back into the street. No, it hits the building and just disappears. Join us next week on Daz for part 2 of Lieutenant Joe Torrillo's story.